And San Pedro is not known to be the best neighborhood, but I guess this is like a back alley. It's kind of sketch. I don't know if I need to continue down this whole thing, because God knows, I think it just connects to another street. You can see big gardens, old homes. Turn of the 20th century primarily, so like 1905 would be some of the oldest stuff out here. And okay, so this was like it's a dead-end road that they figured we'll put a pedestrian path. Plenty of dogs. So there's the church. Maybe we'll stop at the church first before we head down the hill. See what we got around here. It's got some California ranch. Old Porsche, that's cool. So this is a 1920s home. A Spanish tile. Probably a Chihuahua. Classic 20s. Church is most likely from the 20s as well. Bell tower up top. Probably a Catholic school as well as a church. It looks like you got some church annex, adult community center. That's newer. Probably within the last 10 years by the looks of it. Got a lot of solar power, solar water heaters. Of course, the crows making notifications that someone's walking around. So this house is probably like 1910, give or take 5 years. I'd probably put maybe 1905 on it. This is a newer home. It's remodeled, probably from the late 40s. They stuck a bunch of new stuff on it. 1920s home. May have added that garage. Yeah, they put a new garage face on. See the Spanish tile and the new shingles, newer. It's the late 1940s here. So 1950-ish, give or take. That's Palos Verdes, that hill, rolling hills. Gotta climb them. I'm gonna go see the base of that later. Apparently he just got a new house. This, I don't know what that was. Probably from the 20s that someone butchered. Let's see if I can recognize some more elements. Architectural features. Nope, I can't date that one. The chimney looks newer. Maybe they replaced the chimney. Maybe it's bones. Some of it go to the 1920s, but it's too hard to date that one. So First Street, which runs west-south. I gotta tie my shoe. Okay. Is a very busy thoroughfare. And we're circling back essentially to where I started. So a lot of the stuff higher up on the hill is from the late 40s. But you still have a sprinkling of 1920s stuff. I'm going to charge this one. New York style. It's turning yellow anyway. So I hope that the wind's not going to cloud my mic. that I'm walking at a brisk pace. But so here, likely is 1920s bones because of how narrow. It's like a shotgun house that they re-stuccoed over. Unless it's just, you rarely see architectural elements like this nowadays. But it could be a more recent home. I don't think so. They just stucco boxed it and redid the roof. It's rare that you see stuff like that in the near or future, present, the more recent times rather. That's a 1920s home with a little girl, a little dog. Someone smoking the ganja. This is probably 1910-ish, 1905. So okay, this is probably what we saw further up that turned into a stucco box, something like that, given its narrow features and depth. It's pretty far back from the lot. It's probably a multi-unit place, super small units, but economical at the time for people down here, likely working the docks, which of course is part of Long Beach Harbor, which is the Los Angeles Harbor near Wilmington. There's a lot of history down around here because of its naval strategy. Had some military presence back in the day. One of the oldest western outposts, militarily speaking, is in Wilmington. So this is technically part of Los Angeles. San Pedro here. Long Beach, which is on the other side of the harbor here, is its own city, which is rather nice, but relatively speaking, these areas are cheaper than western Los Angeles and Los Angeles in general. It's because it's LA is so big that you know, people want to be central. So like Hollywood, Santa Monica, downtown LA nowadays, even the Valley, North Hollywood area and beyond is can be more expensive than it is down here, even though we're by the beach. Not to say that this property is inexpensive, because some of the nicer stuff could easily hit $1 million. Alright, so that's the stairway right there that we walked up in the beginning. And we're going to cruise down La Alameda Avenue because it's known to be the pathway of the old red car. And we can see that up on the hill we have a large home. It's fairly nice. And so this area is known to be more working class. People that work at the harbor. And it's nice here, though, I must admit. So that looks, see those columns on that home? That's indicative of 1910-ish architecture. There we go. That someone clearly remodeled. 1920s, sort of bluish home here. So I imagine we're going to see a lot of 1920s housing stock because of its proximity to what would have been the old trolley line. See how this roadway kind of bisects at an angle all these other roadways? It's because the rail probably came in before these were really developed streets, and you see a lot of fabric adjusting around the rails that kind of meandered at their own will. You know, whatever was an efficient route, planners and railroad builders just kind of did. Looks like an old Jag. So if you want to live, you know, fairly comfortably by the water for not a lot, I mean, relatively speaking, for Los Angeles terms, this is not a bad option down here. More 1920s architecture. You can kind of see by the roof style. You have very minimal roofs, but articulated for different program elements, bedrooms, living rooms, so on. This stuff's a little newer. This is like 1950-ish. Okay, so now this property might have paved over. We're on Alameda and 3rd Street. I'm just looking at my yeah, so this parking lot used to be the rail. The rail ran right through here. So here we have what is considered modern architecture. We're talking like 60s, 1965-ish, give or take 5 years. Could be the late 50s, but you see the concrete plates, roofing, yeah, it's modern. And of course the elevated kind of stairway. It's like a Mies van der Rohe kind of jack move. Of course, we have our 1920s, it's a kind of Spanish mission style. This home that is like a tan color. This thing's pretty cool. You got some artists or someone with some flair living there, certainly creative. You got your old vintage collection of cars. You know what, before I run over there, I gotta go look down here because there used to be old creeks that ran down from the hill that, of course, any valley, you know, the low point is where the water ran. And so you have a lot of open area up here that is a natural waterway, which probably was what occurred here, and they sort of turned into a park. And of course, being modern, they dominated the landscape with what else but a parking lot. There's really a lack of appreciation for nature in the modern era because of engineering. Humans kind of started to decimate the landscape, more or less. But one thing I appreciate is street vendors. I mean, this is some sort of community center and a natural thoroughfare, so you get guys out here that, you know, trying to make a few bucks, honestly. But this house is great. Look at these vintage cars out here. Probably same owner given the skateboard crossing. See, look how cool these people are. No pooping. Joe and Esther. Old Crow and Cute Chicken. Delgado Street. So, super freaking cool. So we're going to continue down La Alameda. Which is this way. So that's just some character right here, and you got just great things happening. Alright, so here we go down Alameda. So what was kind of typical of the day is when you had rail lines coming through, they often flanked waterways. You know, so you had these right-of-ways, they were nature given through water, rivers, streams, and so on. And then the rails kind of would piggyback that. You had telegraph. You know, everything kind of was a right-of-way that was used, that often followed some geographical feature, so long as it was efficient. Now I'm surprised. Okay, here we go. We got some older homes here. That's like 1910-ish. Oh yeah, here we go. Same thing with this one. It's classic homes. So this looks like a vacant lot here. I don't want to trespass, but you can kind of see the building that's taking place in this valley, because now we have channeled water, but even those look old given the roofs. Not sure without seeing it from the ground. So short of going down there, don't know when they were built. Certainly interesting. Old palm trees. So I might get cut off here. Looks like they might have ended the right of way and gated it off, unfortunately, which means that I have to take a different route other than what I wanted to take, which was the red car line, old trolley. So, yeah, Alameda. Dang. Yeah, it looks like these apartment buildings took over the right of way. Of course, fenced it off. So now they're parking. I don't think I get through there, but yeah, I went right down there, right through the parking lot and out the back. So I don't know what is the best way. I wish there would have been an old 1920s stair, but I don't think that this area down there was developed enough for them to justify putting one. So we're going to try and flank it and pick it up down at the bottom. So this 1920s that someone repainted, fixed it up a little bit. 1920s. So you get the really good looking stuff from the 20s. It has some character to it. A lot of modern stuff is just lacking. That's a cool looking house over there. So LA can be pretty useful as a building jurisdiction because they often are less restrictive than city municipalities. Here's a good example of taking a classic home and stuccoing over it, making it look like crap. It's garbage. This one too. It just deteriorates its original character, and they get these statues that are just ridiculous. But here, as long as you keep in the original style, like this wooden home here where this woman's walking up, that appears to be original. It's got a good lacking of stucco. A lot of stucco. A lot of cats too. $3.44. Man, I might have to cut this one short. Anyway, we'll get down here. We'll probably come back up a different way and I'll have to shoot over to my appointment. But yeah, this, I don't want to go down into the city because as we get farther down, we get closer to downtown San Pedro, and I don't necessarily want to do that on this trip. But Cabrillo Ave is where we're going to cut over here, and we'll continue to try and pick up Alameda. And of course, my favorite is the gas lawnmower, which is just abysmal. Oh, well, you want to make sure no one bumps into your car? Put some pipe up. Okay, where'd you go, Alameda? I'm looking for you. Show me where I am. Gaffy. Okay, here it is. This is where we're standing at above. So the train would have come down here and popped out. So we might have to come back up this way because this was probably a natural creek given the swale on the roadway there. Man, those are big, ugly apartments. So we got Cabrillo, and might as well cross the road here. We got 5th Street, and make sure. So it goes down 5th Street. Okay, so we will go down 5th Street. Some old 1905-ish architecture here. Multi-family, looks like 4 units, 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top, 4 doors at the front. This is Gaffy. This is when we're going to turn around and come back. Not a bad little house there. So we're on kind of a big sloping hill, and so you got a lot of retaining walls up front. Oftentimes the old ones will fail, so you get a lot of CMU replacement like this right here. So this is Gaffy Street. I can see the street sign. So I'm going to go ahead and turn around and come back. Crossover. Can pick up the red car line in the downtown San Pedro area in another episode. Hope this kid doesn't pick up. Okay, alright, good. I was gonna say, if he's gonna bomb that, he can pick up some mean speed wobbles, but he's doing the foot brake action. It's an old California Rancher, which is probably, well, that thing's so ugly it looks like in the 80s. See, this is what I mean, this failing retaining wall. It's leaning forward into the sidewalk. I got another church over there. Okay. This is a cute house. 1910-ish. So I'd be curious to know what was here before these big monolithic ugly apartments were built. These things probably came, yeah, I would say mid to late 60s, early 70s. Whatever was here, they probably just tore down. I bet there were single family, small multifamily, up to 4 units potentially. One good thing about these is engineering. Not so good on accessibility for handicap at all, but of course nothing was before the mid-90s, but the engineering, of course, was better than it was in the 20s and generally before World War II. So you're not going to have necessarily failing retaining walls in the near future. Of course, everything degrades over time. But yeah, see how it's divorced from the sidewalk? It's up high up above everything. It's really lacking any connection to the street. It's really unfortunate. Big private property, no trespassing. Well, had they done a better design job, they wouldn't necessarily have to post that sign. So you got a lot of, I bet there was a lot of kind of vacant or cheaper land down here that got bought up in the 60s that someone decided to develop, given the looks of it. But they probably weren't building down here in the 20s because, again, it was a natural waterway, so they wouldn't have done that. But as soon as you got municipal engineering, allowed people to kind of dominate the landscape and nature, and so waterways no longer became such an issue. Of course, no access to the street up there. The developers didn't want any stairway for public access. It's really unfortunate. You got to go all the way around. So that's what we're gonna do. It's a big water swale and big sewer, big opening to accept the water coming down the hill here. Okay, yeah, so this stuff, all this architecture down here by the looks of it, is post-World War II. You can see the back of the 1920s buildings up there on the hillside above any water. And then you get down here, and this stuff, I don't know, I would say late 70s-ish. We got a bridge. That's cool. Check that out. Where the cat's dead. Nope. This thing, yeah, this is like 1968, 72. Plenty of discarded vacuums. Weird shit. What an unfortunate area. Something's for sale, probably get it for cheap. Look at that crazy 80s solarium. That's weird. Crap, I'm gonna have to figure out how to get back up. Make my appointment in half an hour. This hillside must be for sale. Good luck building on it, it'll be paying me behind. Alright. So that bridge is I would guess the 20s. Just on proportion alone. They certainly maintained it. So it's poured concrete. Could be the 30s. It looks like it's board formed, so I can see the individual planks. So that's old. Nowadays they'll use plywood or some other formwork. Man, certainly weren't considering pedestrians down here. This must be the church. See that community center that we're looking at with the water? So the water definitely came down this way. See all this riprap and this civil work to control the water? That community center up there, and I'll have to look it up on the internet what exactly it is, but definitely paved over waterway. And then they built the crappy residential property homes down here. This is basically an old waterway, is what it was. Still is. It just is controlled now and put underground, unfortunately, so you don't get the beauty necessarily that you would perennially and in the rainy season. I mean, they're using that as a garden also, but it's certainly not intact like it used to be, and it's a shame that they don't take advantage kind of municipally and planning wise to design codes and things to take advantage of the natural beauty and resources that, see, that's a 20s home based on the proportions I'm seeing, and sat above the waterway, which that was probably a very nice home. Could have been a vacation home. Have the stream run down. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna get out of here. Alright. 15. Yeah, I can go. Okay. So that 1960s folded plate concrete building that built over the waterway, a large building up top, modern building that we were just at, is a YMCA. I'm looking at it on my phone here. I wonder if this property is for sale. This is pretty ripe property now. See how much more lush it is, how much more green? It's because, again, we got a lot of water that comes down this way. In fact, I even hear it running right now. So you probably have a natural spring, if this isn't just municipal water runoff from someone's sprinklers. But yeah, before, if in fact this is natural, back in the day this would have been running, and it's right now it's March. So you would have had some animals and some serious habitat happening here in this landscape that if you were building up on the hillside higher up where some of the older homes did, this was a very nice area. Views and lush landscapes and so on. This property here is probably for sale. I'm not sure I'd want to build down in a ditch though. But another episode we'll have to go higher up and trace this creek. There's a landscape architect named LA Creek Freak on the internet that outlines all the old creeks of LA. That guaranteed is one of them. Okay, this is a 1920s home. Nicer character. Whew. Okay, we're on Dolores Road, and okay, that's a lot of new architecture up there. Dolores and Arcadia Drive. Arcadia being an old name of Los Angeles. Bougainvillea. These are probably 80s housing stock. Planned development. So it's a bunch of single family homes that are built up. Ugly 80s monstrosities. Just really poor in character. It's unfortunate. But, you know, came to a point where you got a lot of architects that were not aesthetically trained, not good designers, that it didn't matter. America was expanding, people were hired, money was to be made. So this is 1980s. Yeah, this stuff is like late 70s, early 80s. This is when you had the big indoor shopping malls being built. The same kind of mentality. El Paso, Heyo Road, and Arcadia Drive. Okay, so we're gonna get back to where we started. Right on time, which is great. So here we got, yeah, this is 1960s. See, modernism started, you know, in the early 20th century in Germany and Europe, made its way here, but really didn't begin to explode and become popular until after World War II, especially in the 60s. Like, you can call this modern even though it has pitched roofs because of its boxiness, its design elements. You know, like, it's kind of same aesthetic. Of course, that show has a better design aesthetic. I mean, there's good modernism and there's bad modernism, of course, just like anything. Okay, we are going up. I always liked it, the 60s. I always got some catching. The Belle Marine. The typography was always nice. So the fact that they named it, the scripting, the lettering was always probably one of the nicest qualities of that style design. And here we got 20 stock 1920s. What's interesting is that they must have come back and replaced that driveway with stairs, because you have what looks to be an old Model T garage with no curb cut for the car. And someone came back and put in a stairwell, and you can see that this is essentially a mirrored version, although different in certain elements. You have the old 1920s cut here. So I'm gonna make sure I'm going the right way. Yeah, we're on track. I'm gonna circle back around, come down. So I don't know how I can see that, but we're gonna be back where we started in about 5 minutes. Of course, the old alleyways, which are great. I'd like to think that they use them for trash pickup and stuff. I'd love to go down it, although I think it hooks back around where we came from, which I don't really want to do. But you can see the port, the industry happening down there. Some people really like seeing that if they have views of that. I know most people probably don't. They like seeing natural landscapes, the beauty of the beach, you know, palm trees. They don't want to see big cargo cranes and things, but some people do appreciate that. So see, you can see the church from here. Of course, that's always the purpose of the church, to be seen from far and wide, recognize people come and make their contributions and repent, listen to the word of God or a priest. Some more 1920 stock. Okay, this is 2nd Street. Big ugly addition on the back of that 1920s home. I suppose if you get high enough with a good enough view, you can see the whole bay, which isn't too much of a bay compared to the South Bay. We're kind of exposed down here. You got another alley coming up here. Plenty of lemons, cacti. Always a Southern California staple. Citrus grows well. Same with cactus. It's beautiful though. Yeah, this is a 1960s-ish. Probably some plumbing problems. That's why they're digging it up here in the front. Alright, coming back to the 1st Street. Alright. Let's see, walk down a bit. So, I don't know, I wish there was an alternative to this 1st Street thoroughfare. I mean, I know that car is a part of the modern world and everyone has one or wants one. And a lot of times you absolutely need one. But I just think it would be so much greater if there was some other, maybe public means, public transportation, you know, some alternate routes carry goods. Of course, I'm thinking fantasy, but I mean, this area is really just kind of a letdown because it's just filled with cars going up and down all day. It's really no place for people to be walking up and down. Here we are. So, although you have an ocean view, I don't know, you know, that house certainly got ocean view. It'd be great. I mean, I'd probably take it just based on that, but having that 1st Street thoroughfare is such a drag. It'd be better if it was, I wouldn't mind the cars if there was something else in addition to that that was more pleasing aesthetically and pedestrian friendly. It would really just be a great service to the area, I think. Alright, so we'll leave with the ocean view from the top. See you guys next time.